Hi, you're watching the Spiritual Awakening with Adriana channel, and I'm Adriana. A few times in my previous videos, I noted about Star Trek and especially Voyager, how they have some interesting bits and pieces of thinking that might be interesting to someone going through the spiritual awakening. And today I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into it. I will be making more videos about this topic because I just love it, and I hope you will have to ponder about it too. So, Voyager starts with a very interesting event. The caretaker traps Catherine Janeway and her crew at the Delta Quadrant. I found this to be an amazing metaphor for the start of the spiritual awakening process, because when you start your spiritual awakening and your spiritual journey, you will often feel like somebody threw you in the Delta Quadrant, and that you are suddenly feeling and experiencing your life in new ways that were not obvious to you before. And the Voyager in the Delta Quadrant is in the same position as you are in the process. You know that you have to go home, and you in fact are going home because you are nowhere but home. But suddenly all is very different. The life as you knew it is no longer enough for you, and you seek more. You want to explore your inner spirituality. And as with Catherine Janeway, sometimes you will take a longer road in order to explore something that you deem worthy of exploring, and sometimes you will just want this process of awakening that you're going through to be over, so that you can continue living a boring life like you used to. But there will be no way. You are, after all, now in your own Delta Quadrant, far away from where you used to be. You have evolved. You have changed. You are no longer satisfied with what you used to be satisfied with. And sometimes the change that happens to you will be amazing. You will start to find meaning in the moment. You will love things that you've never loved before. You might stop eating meat. You will start eating healthy. You will start to exercise. You might even change, and from somebody who is very extroverted, you might seek more inner peace and introduce some elements of introversion into your life. And Delta Quadrant is a very strange place, and you will sometimes enjoy it, but sometimes you will wish that you have not become a different version of yourself that is changing you so much, and that finally understands David Bowie's Change song so well. Lots of questions that arise from your inner self when you are spiritual awakening will revolve around the question, is there an afterlife, and whether we are really those immortal beings that are here for this experience in the dance with reality, like many people are telling us. And the episode Coda will be a gem to those that are in that mood. In this episode, Catherine Janeway is with the Chakotay on a mission, and they experience a crash in which Captain Janeway is critically injured. However, right after she is killed, she suddenly finds herself back on the shuttle, and she realizes something strange is going on. The timelines are changing. Those strange occurrences repeat a few times, and at one point she finds herself in an out-of-body experience. She's standing next to her first officer as he's unsuccessfully trying to bring her back to life. Now she's out of her body. She's following her transfer to sickbay, and she's unsuccessful in attempts to contact the crew, even though Cass at one point does seem to think that she's contacted by the captain. She is not able to proceed on that. At one point, Captain Janeway's father appears in spirit, Vice Admiral Janeway, in flesh and blood, or in out-of-body flesh and blood, so to say. And he says that he's there to transfer her to the next world, and that she actually died in the shuttlecraft. Apparently, when death is unexpected, so Star Trek tells us, one's consciousness is not prepared to let go, so he tells her. Janeway fights back and tells him that if he was a hallucination, he would certainly know all the things he claims to know about her. and he claims that it really does not matter and that eventually she will cross over to that other state of consciousness. He informs her that even though her crew members and friends are looking for her now, they will give up eventually, accept what's happened, and that she will eventually accept it too. But Janeway is not convinced still. She's fighting. She tries to help Cass to sense her, but does not succeed at all. After 3 days, her crewmen decide that it's time to let her go. So Catherine Janeway is found at her memorial hall, and she watches her own funeral. Together with a ghost that claims to be her father. Henry especially gives a very warming eulogy, and she's very touched, and the ghost tells her that it is over and that there is nothing left for her to do there, but she's not really ready to accept it. Her so-called father, somebody who is pretending to be her father, tries to convince her that all her attempts to deny the reality of her situation will only hurt her more. For as time wears on, she'll realize how potent and destructive loneliness is, seeing the people she loves move on with their lives without her, being forever shut out of their existence and not being able to contact them. But Janeway is still not convinced. She is insisting that she is just not ready, that she'd rather be there in spirit, that not at all, because the captain does not abandon ship. And as the ghost of her father keeps pushing her into making the decision to finally leave this world behind with him, Janeway suddenly and briefly experiences looking up at Chakotay, Tuvok, and the Doctor. They're still on the surface of the planet and they're still trying to revive her. So she's still not dead. She accuses this ghost, her father, of being an alien of some kind, knowing that her real father always really respected her inclination to find things out for herself and not to be told what to do and what to say. And a second and third vision of hers, with her still on the planet, makes it obvious that her experiences in the afterlife are not really reality, and she realizes that there is something strange going on. She realizes that the person lying on the ground on that planet is really who she is, and not this ghost. Janeway and all the things that she has been experiencing since first crashing were a hallucination. The alien being finally reveals its true identity at one point. It claims that its species at the moment of death come to help the dying understand what is happening so that they can make the crossover an occasion of joy. It states that it was being truthful when it said that it was a place of wonder, for it can be whatever she wants it to be. Disguising as her father or generally someone's loved one makes the crossing over a much less fearful occasion. Janeway doubts that the alien's real reason for wanting her in this world have anything to do with everlasting joy, and demands to know what it really wants from her. The alien then grabs her, telling her that she must go with it, but Janeway realizes that if the alien could force her to go, it would have done so already, so she needs to make the decision by herself. She refuses to do that, and the alien being becomes visibly upset now. It returns to its own realm, but as the last warning, it states that there will be another time and that the alien will be waiting, for eventually she would come into its matrix and nourish it for a long, long time. The captain finally wakes up on the planet, revived by the Doctor and Chakotay beside her, who explains that they were caught in a magnetic storm and crashed there. The Doctor and Tuvok took a shuttlecraft down to the planet to begin treating her, but as they were doing so, an alien presence was detected within her cerebral cortex. Its presence prevented all of their attempts to revive her, but it was eventually dislodged. Janeway tells them about the alien who appeared to her in the image of her father, trying to take her into its realm, and she tells them that from what she saw, that certainly was not where she would like to spend eternity. Back on Voyager, Janeway tries to recover by going back to her routine when Chakotay walks into her ready room and gives her a rose. They discuss her experience, and Chakotay mentions how this alien in its matrix reminds him of a spider who has to lure a fly into its web. She wonders whether each of the near-death experiences they heard about might be the result of an alien inhabitation, and Chakotay finds it hard to believe, and Janeway hopes he's right. She expresses her hope that his species was native to the Delta Quadrant and that what they've seen was the last of them. So this episode might be hitting closer to home than any one of us would like to admit. We are told by people experiences after death events from Raymond Moody further that there is joy, there are relatives waiting for us when we die. Take this and Descartes' malicious demon and evil genius, and you might get into deep depression and wonder if we are just Sims in somebody's game, but I see this differently. If there are aliens that are leading us on this road, and if we are even in a simulation, I believe that they could not be some evil minds. They must be creatures so advanced that they have to know what is best for us. We might be just spirits put into this life by aliens that are waiting for us to evolve, just like when we play Sims game, we wait for our sim to finally realize some things and to do some things, and we push them, and here we are, and we are evolving. Same as Sims. We are asking ourselves tough questions, and we are believing in goodness of people around us and in goodness of that force that is taking us on this road, and I think that this is the right way to go. You have to have faith, and I was talking about God, and having faith in something is very important, whether it's God, whether it's some aliens, and Star Trek is full of those gems, and there is also, I already talked about it, but this is an episode and one scene that really fascinates me. The episode concerning flight opens more questions than it solves, and what I want you to do is to explore yourself and the world around you and find your own answers. And I'm happy to be the one that will give you my point of view, but you have to form your own truth. Do not take anybody's truth for granted, because you are the only one that can know your truth and what you are going through and what you're feeling, and you are the only one that can really discover your true potential and your true purpose in life, and that is what spiritual awakening is all about. To really become the best version of yourself, to become the happiest version of yourself, to be able to bring experiences and people into your life that you really deserve. This episode concerning flight is where Catherine Janeway is with Da Vinci hologram, and he's wearing mobile emitter, and Da Vinci is shot. The beam passes through him, and he's confused. Why did he not die? She picks up the side-to-side transport device and telling Da Vinci that it is an invention from another land that can move them out of the building. Da Vinci demands an explanation for all that he's seen, and she tells him that there are things she understands about the new land that he doesn't, and he answers that he just cannot accept it. And so if we are just holograms in a simulation, does it matter to what we are and what we can achieve? It really does not, and we have to accept it. And with regard to the main players in Voyager, I would like to point out the Doc. He's just a hologram, but he has gone beyond his original programming and has proven that we can be all that we can be. And Captain is also a very strange person. When you think of it, she's a woman, first of all, and she's leading a huge ship with lots of people stuck in that Delta Quadrant. They are not able to come home, but there is never a mutiny on her ship. There is never any problem with anybody, and she is just, in some situations, just so divinely unhuman with her kindness and with good intentions. That really you have to wonder whether Captain Janeway is in fact some sort of an alien, because lots of humans, even if it is a 24th century, would still most probably carry some kind of desire to, I don't know, kill somebody in order to get home or something like that. But she's very calm and she's unwavering. She's sticking to the principles of the Star Fleet, and she is out of this world. Please watch Voyager by yourself and let me know what you think in the comments below. I will come back to this topic in the future. This is why we will have part 2 and hopefully part 3 and 4 and 5. And I want to tell you, be like a dog. go away from your original programming, go away from what you were when we were little. We were told that we were like this and we were like that, and we were forming our ego in accordance to somebody else's expectations. Mostly as we were growing up, we were discovering that maybe sometimes people had the best intentions, but the way in which they were expressing them were not the best ways. So the entire point of the spiritual awakening is awakening you to the fact that there might be different views and even maybe different worlds and different realities. Imagination is a fair game. But all of that does not really matter. For as long as you are in awe of the majestic beauty of your life and the possibilities that lie ahead of you, you are just in the right place at the right time. I love the Vulcan saying, live long and prosper. I know it's cheesy, but I will say it, live long and prosper. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button and please subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Bye.